everybody needs a best friend, right? And, you know, shrimp need best friends too. And so here's my best friend.
Oh, I thought that's why you have the shrimp.
What is going on, shrimp keepers? So today we are talking all about best friends and how snails are shrimp's best friends. And so I'm here with all my best friends at work. We got Lead Dog in the background. It's 80-some degrees out. She's in shorts, living her best life. We got Liv here. Liv's having a stressful day. We talked all about it. I played a mean joke on her. She didn't like it. But
it was really funny.
I thought it was really funny when I said it, but then I realized after the fact that, hey, you know, when someone's stressed, you probably shouldn't joke with more stressful things. But anyway, it's all about having best friends, and you know, we're going to talk today about shrimp's best friends, and then also shrimp's least best friends when it comes to the best friend category. We all have that one friend that probably shouldn't be around, and we're definitely going to talk about that today. First, we have to establish what is shrimp's best friend. So shrimp's best friend is definitely snails, but not all snails should be their friends. And we'll talk about that. So you got Nerite Snails. I mean, they're okay friends, but they're really not the best. So the first one I want to talk about is down here, and watch your step, Em. Here, actually, I'll clean this up for you. I don't need my camera woman, aka my most creative person that does all the video editing for me, getting injured on the job. But these are the #1 my favorite snail to ever keep with shrimp, and that is Malaysian trumpet snails. Now listen, I know what some of you are thinking, and what you're thinking is, Rob, I hate Malaysian trumpet snails. A lot of people are like, oh my god, I need to bleach my tank to get rid of them. But these guys serve such an amazing purpose. One, they're gonna eat any leftover food that you feed. So you don't have to worry as much about overfeeding when you have snails. If the snail population is like booming, it means you're feeding too much. If you don't see as many snails, it means you're probably feeding not enough, or it's just balancing out. So if you ever see them booming, just feed less, and that's the cause, or that's the solution. So Malaysian trumpet snails, really good at eating excess food. The next thing, this is literally the best purpose for them. Most of the time, us shrimp keepers have sand substrate because, I don't know, we just like sand. And they will burrow down in the sand. They will stir that substrate, make sure it's getting turned over. You don't have to worry about gas pockets building up because of breaking down detritus and stuff like that in the substrate. And so they're really good at that. The next thing is shrimp, and this goes for all snails, but you know, this next thing, snails in general help keep the cycle in the aquarium alive. So snails are just dirty. That's just what they are. They're very dirty creatures. They poop a lot, they eat a lot, they make a mess. But what that does is that produces a lot of ammonia, which then keeps your live bacteria alive. Because shrimp, on the other hand, don't produce much ammonia. They really are like a negative bioload, which means they don't produce enough to really keep live bacteria alive. And so, at least on the front end, when you just get shrimp, it's good to put snails with them for the simple fact that those snails will produce the waste needed to keep that live bacteria alive. So Malaysian trumpet snails, definitely my #1. Now, when I'm thinking #2, I think I'm gonna go back down here. So Em's got to walk backwards, unfortunate for her. Shout out to Em for she's really getting good at this. So actually, I'm gonna do it right here. So I love mystery snails. So the first one we talked about, Malaysian trumpet snails, I know they're not ideal because they could breed. Some people just absolutely hate them, and they've been known in a fish tank to like take over the fish tank. I've never seen it happen in shrimp, so just know that's my experience. I know I'm gonna get some haters in the comments saying like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. I have a few aquariums. I've kept a few through the years. So anyway, mystery snails, they don't produce as easy. So like if you're one of those people that's like, I don't want to have this abundance of snail population. So Malaysian trumpet, or I keep saying Malaysian trumpet snails. What I'm meaning is mystery snails. You guys know what I mean. If I say Malaysian trumpet snails from this point, you know that I'm actually talking about mystery snails. So don't be confused. Mystery snails. There's tons of different types. There's tons of different colors. They all are equal in the way that they perform, and they could be shrimp's best friend. They're the BFG. If you've ever read The Big Friendly Giant, that is mystery snails for shrimp. So what do mystery snails do that's different than Malaysian trumpet snails? One, they're not going to stir the substrate. So that's one of the downsides. They're not going to stir the substrate. The positive side is they're not going to overproduce in your aquarium because they lay clutches above the water. Those are easy to remove. They don't always hatch even if you don't remove them. So a little bit easier to control the population, but these guys do something. You see what I did there? And you'll get it in a second. They do something that Malaysian trumpet snails don't do, is they actually consume breaking down plant matter. They consume Indian almond leaves that you put in the aquarium, and they consume that rapidly, and then they poop that out, and then their poop becomes a food source for the shrimp. And so the shrimp are actually able to eat things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to eat through the digestive system of Malaysian trumpet snails. So it's a very symbiotic relationship. So when I say do, really, they do a lot for shrimp. So these guys are my favorite. Me and him just talked about how everything's my favorite. As far as BFG's best friends for shrimp, they're number 2. So they're my second favorite for friends for shrimp. And so I'm glad we cleared the air. And they do come in a lot of different colors. So like there's blue, there's ivory, there's jade, which is green, there's gold. There's purple with albino bodies, which is called magenta. There's purple with black bodies, which is called purple. There's just really cool ones. So you can really get a bunch of different ones, fairly easy to keep. They're super hardy. And so there is a lot of good things. One thing I will say about mystery snails is they can come with leeches and they can come with scuds, because what happens is those things get up into their trap door. And so like when people are shipping them or selling them, it's hard to know. And so just know that you can get that. So I highly recommend quarantining them if you have a quarantine tank, and just being prepared for that. But what's next? So we did talk a little bit about Nerite snails, and I don't want to just completely leave them off. I think it's important to talk about it. So Nerite snails in general, they're just good algae eaters. So like, yeah, they can be good for shrimp, but they're not like super hardy. So like if there's ammonia in the water, they might die. And so like, they're not the most hardy snail. So if you're having problems with keeping your tank cycled, you're using them to make sure the tank stays cycled. There I go. Now I'm on mystery snails again. Whatever snail that I'm supposed to be talking about, I'm in the past. So Nerite snails, they are a good option if you're looking for algae control. If you're just looking for like something to get along with your shrimp, probably not the best because they're not the hardiest. Now there is one that is extremely hardy that we literally have so much success with, and that's the black military helmet snail, or the black helmet snail. The guys are literally bulletproof. Out of all the Nerite snails that we get in, we never have issues with them. Like we have one tank up here. They're not like the fastest seller, but we've had one tank for like 6 months, and rarely do we have any issues whatsoever with them. They're just living their best life. The red and yellow pumpkins are also very hardy as well. As far as Nerite snails, these guys are tiny, like the size of like bigger than a BB, but smaller than a marble. And so a really cool Nerite snail, also fairly hardy. So those would be the ones that I would recommend. There are some like other like unique snails out there. So like we sell a lot of like the blueberry snails, which is like a newer one. These guys are a little bit more sensitive, so I also wouldn't recommend those. The trapdoor snails, these guys are really, really hardy. They're super dirty. And so I would almost relate those very similar to like the mystery snail. So I think those really could be good for you. They are huge. Like if you just look at these guys, they're live bears. So these guys will reproduce in your aquarium. Here's a baby. And that's almost like a newly hatched baby. So like they come out pretty big, but those guys are like the size of a golf ball, maybe a little bit bigger. So they would be a really good one. And they're also extremely hardy as well. A lot of people use those for algae control in their ponds. The only thing I don't know about is whether they would eat your plants or not. I haven't done enough research to know. And so that is one concern that I would have. So make sure, if you know right off the bat, drop a comment down below and let us know like, oh yeah, trapdoor snails definitely eat plants. Because I'm curious. I'm sure everyone watching right now would be curious as well. And the next one And what do you think? Foe next or friend?
I think safer.
Okay, we'll save foe for the end. So the next one, which again, I don't think these are like the best option. And the reason being is I think they're sensitive like the Nerite snails, and that's rabbit snails. There are 2 exceptions to it. So like we actually are not bringing in most of our rabbit snails right now because the mortality rate is so high. Like we are just having so many issues with bringing them in, and you know, they'll be good when they arrive, but then they die within like the first week. And so and once we get them healthy, we're sending them to customers and they're having a lot of issues. So there's just a really tricky one. The 2 exceptions would be and these aren't the best examples. The live ones are up here. These are like the quarantine tanks that we're like, I'm not sure if these are alive. So we're just have them here and then we're kind of monitoring them. But blue rabbit snails are ones that actually do really well for us. And then the other ones, which are very similar to those, would be the orange volcano rabbit snails. And so this one actually has, most of these are alive, and they look almost identical to the blue rabbit snails. They just have like an orange kind of hue to them, whereas the blue rabbit snails are mostly black or like have a bluish hue. And so those are the 2 that if you're set on doing rabbit snails, those are 2 that I would get. Here's another one that these guys are also bulletproof. So these are the Himalayan. So there's white Himalayan, and a lot of people confuse them with like white Hercules snails, rabbit snails. There's that type, which are decently hardy. Em's laughing at something. I don't know what she's laughing at. White Hercules, but that's not what they are. That's not what they are. That's just what we initially got them in as. They're the Himalayan snail. So these are the non-white version of the Himalayan. We don't even have these listed on our website yet. But we brought these in, and these guys are literally bulletproof. Like, they've been here. I wanted to hold them for like a month just to make sure, like, hey, are we gonna have issues with them? Are we not? They eat so much food. So those are good options for you if you were set on doing rabbit snails. And then I'll give you a little bonus one. So these are my favorite. And I know you guys probably feel the same about these as you do about Malaysian trumpet snails, and they're bladder snails, because these guys reproduce like crazy. They're gonna eat leftover food. They're gonna keep the tank cycled. They're not gonna stir the substrate. But these guys love dirty tanks. If you don't have a dirty tank, they're probably not gonna thrive. They're gonna dwindle away. And so it's really easy to control their population. But one that I didn't want to pass up. Now last is the foe. These are not shrimp's best friends. And I know, at this point, you guys are shocked that I'm still talking because we're just doing a one-take wonder on this sucker. But you know, when you're passionate about your best friends, you could talk about them all day. And that's how I feel about Liv and Red Dog and DJM. We should film a whole video on them one day. But today is not their day. Today is Snail's day. And so the foe of all of this, these guys, assassin snails. Now you go look online, you're gonna get a bunch of mixed reviews like, I keep assassin snails with my shrimp and it's completely fine. Yeah, okay, you're the exception. There's exceptions to almost everything. And so I've kept assassin snails with shrimp and have been completely fine. But there's always one. There's always that one assassin snail that's like, I wonder what you taste like. And all of a sudden they find out and they're like, yeah, that's pretty good. Next thing you know, they're eating all your shrimp. So is the risk worth the reward? No. So assassin snails, 1000%. I will, like, listen, there's not very many things that I'm like completely confident on. I have seen assassin snails eat a healthy shrimp. I've actually seen mystery snails do it too, but that's extremely rare. So I think that's an act of God that actually happened. But anyway, we'll ignore that. Act like that part of the video never happened. But these guys, I've seen it happen, and they are actually predators. So they prey on other snails, and they can prey on shrimp. So people put them in their shrimp tank to get rid of these guys, which we love. We don't want to get rid of them. Just speed less. That's how you get rid of them. But they put them in there to control snail populations. Next thing you know, they're burrowed in the substrate. You're never going to find them. And then all of a sudden, you're going to find these half-eaten carcasses of shrimp. And that's not good. We want to breed our shrimp. We want shrimp to live happy, healthy, long lives. And so, yeah, that's why we did a whole video on not using heaters in your shrimp tank. I didn't mean to trigger you guys, but yeah. Anyway, we'll get back on topic. So assassin snails, for me, it's just not worth the risk. And so, so yeah, those are definitely the foes. All the other ones are friends, symbiotic. You know, there's always that one in a million time that a mystery snail will eat a shrimp. It's not going to happen very often. And you Google it. You guys might find the video because it's crazy. Listen, I'll just tell you about it. Mystery snail crawling up the glass. All of a sudden it sees a shrimp and it like goes off from the glass and then falls on it and then straight eats that sucker. Craziest thing ever. I didn't even know that it was possible, but like it literally trapped it by like engulfing it and then just slowly eating it. Nuts. So anyway, with all that being said, if you guys are still here, you're pretty dedicated and you should probably hit the subscribe button because listen, we all need best friends and I'm more than happy to be your guys' best friend. You know, that's what this hobby is all about. It really is. That this hobby is about connecting with nature, connecting with each other, just having fun. So if you guys want to have a good time, obviously this is the place to be. And so, so hit that subscribe button. And on that note, thank you guys for being a part of this. If you're interested in any of the snails we talked about, we obviously sell them. We have them on our website, but in no way is this a sales pitch. If you want to support me and what I'm doing here at flipaquatics and make sure that Emily is able to eat at night and provide for her family, and same thing with Liv and Leather, then hey, we appreciate you guys supporting flipaquatics and purchasing from us. And so, so on that note, thank you guys so much for being a part of what we're doing here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. As always, God bless. We'll catch you on the flip side.
For more unhinged content, consider joining our Aquarium Club by hitting the join button. As a member, you'll get perks like weekly members-only videos dropping every single Friday. And let me just tell you, those are unhinged. Monthly discounts. Every single month, you get 10 to 20% off our website. We have exclusive Discord channels for you all, monthly Aquarium Club meetings, and exclusive in-depth educational content. Like one of my favorite series, Get Equipped with Flip, where we invite experts in the aquarium hobby to come on and teach us about specific topics. Listen guys, what are you waiting for? Hit that join button and become a part of our flipaquatics family.